All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome. Doing something a little bit different here today on Mog Monday. We're gonna play Mog Monday in a bit. We're gonna play some of Caleb Durward's Legacy Turbo Muxus deck. All right, but that's in a little bit. Right now, what I wanted to do was, if you missed it, I had a pretty big day yesterday. Jim's big day, and we streamed it. I played in 2 tournaments yesterday. I played in the Gen Con Championship, which we had to qualify for. And I played in the Arena Open Day 2, which I also had to qualify for by doing good on Day 1. And I won the Gen Con tournament and won $1,000 in the Arena tournament. So not too shabby. Pretty good for a day at the office. $1,000 at the Arena tournament, and then the Gen Con prize. We redistributed the prize in the finals. I ended up getting a rare and a common uncut sheet of Core Set 2021 and 100 booster packs or 100 prize wall tickets. So pretty good day. Jim's big day. And pretty good day. Obviously, it's not going to be on YouTube. You can go watch the stream VODs if you're a sub. But I wanted to go back and look over my 3 money matches that I played. I played Historic Goblins, the Muxus Goblins deck in Historic. It was a Historic tournament. And I thought it'd be fun to go over the 3 matches and kind of talk over them a little bit with my thought process now that I'm not playing. During the matches, I had the microphone off, so I was focusing on playing. Made some mistakes here and there because they were super high pressure matches. I think one of the things people don't realize if you've never played in a high pressure match for $1,000 or a Pro Tour invite or something, people watch these matches and they're like, "Man, these players suck. They didn't notice this thing. They didn't see that thing. They didn't do this." Not recognizing that the stress you were under when you were playing a high pressure match is much different than just playing on the ladder or whatever, where if you make a mistake, who cares, so being able to go back and watch it, not playing it, I'll be able to give some pretty good commentary and point out all the dumb things that I did winning money anyway. And it's much different to be shooting a free throw at your local park by yourself than it is in front of millions of people with the game on the line in the NBA Finals and so on and so forth. So we're going to hop right in. We're playing it at 1.5 speed, and just going to talk about these matches. So don't ignore the me wearing the red shirt. That's an imposter. So at this point, we are 5-0, and you basically, how the structure works is you can keep playing until you have 2 losses. Once you have 6 wins, you win $1,000. Once you have 7 wins, you win $2,000. So right now we have 5 wins and I guess 0 losses. Yeah, 0 losses. And even though the screen is incorrect, I believe that is the case. I hope it's the case. I know I forgot to update the thing. And let's go. So we keep this hand. It looks kind of sketch here. We got Conspicuous Snoop, Muxus, and 5 lands. But Snoop is very good at finding spells and making land drops and playing Muxus, what the deck is trying to do anyway. So I think that kind of keep is pretty reasonable. You need to have a little faith you're going to draw spells, and Snoop helps with that. And then if you just make land drops and cast Muxus, that's great too. So obviously, great start. You got a Prospector on top. You got Instigator on top. You got Snoop on top. So everything rolls out perfectly this game. Opponent goes Triome. Looking like it's going to be a Reclamation deck. This is my first time playing against Reclamation in this tournament. So hand is fanned out perfectly here. Obviously now we have threats in play. Wily Goblin on top. Muxus all queued up. And part of the goal of this deck is to try and put enough pressure on your opponent where they have to react or tap out and stuff, and then you can cast Muxus as your follow-up. So, play land here. Have to be aware of the we're sure to go for it. I'm sorry, I'm going to mention the X spell. But there's a Mux, there's a Chieftain. Easy game, right? No problems here. And basically over at this point. We Matron, we have a bajillion power in play, and don't think they have a recourse here really. Even if they were able to untap, they couldn't cast Magma Quake and kill the Mux. And you got another Mux anyway. So pretty easy game here. Not much to commentate on. Commentary is Muxus is a dumb card. So we bring in our 4 discard spells and our 4 Goblin Ruinblasters. Got the Matrons because they're honestly they're a little slow, and we're trying to just kill pretty quickly here. You got to cut something, honestly, and they're probably the worst, least focused card in the deck. Shade Instigator, it's bad against mass removal. They could have like Flame Sweep, things like that. Shave a Krenko, shave a Warchief. I can also cut a land here on the draw. Game 1, you're very focused. Make land drops, cast Muxus, do your thing. Post board, decks are going to have stuff against you. They're going to have mass removal, ways to stop your Muxus, and things like that. Things get more interactive. Therefore, you can definitely you can chill a little bit. You know, you can play a little more interactive game. The game's going to go a little longer. Typically, in general, sideboard games tend to go longer than main board games, so you can afford to have a fewer land and so on and so forth. Game 2, not a very good looking hand here. Pretty obvious mulligan into a pretty good one. So we got 3 lands, discard spell, Ruinblaster, and Muxus. So pretty solid. A little light on early action, but the discard spell is nice. And again, it's all about casting Muxus. The problem is post board they can have things like Aether Gust, things like that. So we draw a 2-drop, but I decided to play the Remorse here because I don't want them to go spiral into Reclamation, and a 2/2 is fine, but I'd rather see what's going on first. You know, we're more about resolving this Ruinblaster, resolving this Muxus, things like that, and not necessarily in a huge rush. And we see their hand. Their hand is pretty wild. So a bunch of uncastables here. We have Reclamation, double white on Settle, Expansion, which they could have used to fire back their Remorse at me and didn't, which is pretty interesting. Bone Crusher's pretty good, but no red. So a hand with a lot of problems. And while Reclamation is definitely the best card in the hand, they need to draw a land. And a lot of their lands come in tapped anyway. So I feel like taking Euro is the best play here. It exiles the Euro permanently if the game goes long. And then they're pretty stuck. They can't actually do anything. They have no red, no double white, and no 4th land. And a lot of their lands come in tapped. So looking to fade an untapped land. We do, which is pretty lucky. We get to play Snoop. We are a little off here. I mean, we're not really doing much this turn. It's got to fade a land again. Although now we have Ruinblaster lined up. They draw a land, but it's tap land. That was the plan. And fire in the Ruinblaster. Normally, you Ruinblast the Field of the Dead, but we get to kill their white source, which is awesome. So now they're just stuck. Even if they have a land for Reclamation, they can't do much. They have 2 colorless lands. They brick on land anyway. And we draw another Ruinblaster off the top. And there you go. $1,000. Cue it up. And one of the... Shut up, Jim. One of the easier matches of the day, obviously. Pretty fortunate. Our opponent, missed on land there for a turn. But then again, beating Team Erect is obviously, this green screen's really screwed up. I got to buy some lights today. My lighting in here is not proper for the green screen. So, obviously, I'm very happy, as you can see, in 1.5x speed. We had an easy one there. We had an easy one. God, come on, green screen. So, there it is. I'm just going to sip this in. Oh, yeah. $1,000. That was win number 6. We had won... we had won all of our matches at this point. Yeah, we were 6-0, and that means we had 2 bullets to fire. So you keep playing until you have 7 wins or 2 losses, at which point it ends. Right now we have 6 wins, and if we win one more time, we win another $1,000. And we have we have a loss to give basically, so we could lose and then still win, get the $2,000. I'm sure I'm explaining that right now. Remember, if you haven't followed the stream, hit that follow button. Of course, watching on YouTube, make sure you follow on there. We're going over my matches from yesterday's Arena Open. As you can see, I won the $1,000 at 6-0, and we'll see if we can go win that $2,000 and finish it off. Mob Monday will be a little bit after this. We'll be playing Legacy Turbo Muxus Goblins. Let me know what you think of his content. I want to try something a little different because I didn't record the YouTube videos for yesterday. So got a mulligan, the no lander, obviously. Come to a 6-card hand now. Their companion is Luris, which usually means an Aura's deck, which is not good for us if it's a bad matchup. So I want to keep the most linear hand possible. So Wily Goblin Warchief in 3 lands with a Muxus is about as fast as you can be, which is great. So they go Ornithopter and Temple and turn to a Danto Vanguard. So not bad because they didn't play the core Spirit Dancer, which is the really annoying card. That got really kind of snowballs. Play the Goblin, make a thing. We drew a Krenko, we drew a Chieftain. We're pretty teed up here. They shouldn't really have any removal in their main deck. They fire off an Insight here. We We could block to gain 4 life and deny them a card draw, but I don't remember what I do. I think I do block. Yeah, so we block here. So this denies them. We gain 4 life. They don't draw a card. It's important that they missed a land drop. So we want to keep them on 2 lands, keep them slow to get our Muxus down as fast as possible. So fire on the Warchief. That feels great. We're not going to block with it, so we attack. And now we're queued up for next turn with Krenko, Muxus, possibly. There's an Obsession. And an Arcane Flight. So they're teeing off on the Vanguard, but it's still not that fast of a threat. And they shouldn't really have much to do in the main deck to deal with Muxus, hopefully. So, and they miss a land drop. So clutch. We draw the land, clutch. Fire up the 5-mana Mux. We hit. Krenko, Gempalm, Wily Goblin. So pretty good hit there. It's fire out the Krenko, make 1,000,000 tokens, and attack, putting him in a spot where they basically have to kill us next turn. So our Goldfish kind of worked out. Our Wily Goblin and our Warchief allowed us to cast Muxus on turn 4, which is fast enough here. They get to block with the Ornithopter, but now they're pretty behind the 8 ball, and realistically, they need to kill us this turn or deal with our board in some way. Once we untap, the Krenko is going to make 1,000,000 tokens. Muxus is huge. Not a ton for them to do. My volume's a little low. Check 1, 2, check. I think the audio, you should be able to hear the audio from the game like very, very low, but if not, then whatever. Just got to hear me anyway. So they attack here. Obviously, their only recourse is to draw some sort of, I don't even know what they could possibly have. Core Spirit Dancer probably ain't it. So we untap, make 1,000,000 Krenkos, play Chieftain and kill them. Super easy. Yes, my new office came with an extra gym. So play Krenko, make a bajillion tokens, win game 1. 1 game away from $2,000. Right talk. Thanks for the reset. Appreciate that. So sideboarding is a little interesting. So we don't interact super well with them because if they make 1 big creature, we can't really kill it. We don't have any smothers or eliminates, Doomblade effects, things like that. So we're trying to Goldfish, but now that we're post board, they have access to things like Aether Gust, possible counter spells, so on and so forth. So I decided to bring in our discard spells. We bring in 2 Duress. And I also decided to bring in their Remorses because on the draw, our Gempalm Incinerators don't really do anything. It's going to be extremely difficult to kill anything with Gempalm on the draw because they play Spirit Dancer. I play 2-drop. They play 2 Auras. Now it's a 5/7. So Gempalm comes out. Remorse comes in and Duress comes in, both to deal with the things I can't deal with, as well as the counter spells they may have brought in. Nathan, new sub, what's your name away from Welcome, my friend? Thanks so much. And we could have brought in Chainwhirler, Call of a Death Dweller. That it is a way to kill their creatures. The problem is that they never actually kill my creatures. So we're relying on Prospector or Phyrexian Tower to get it in the graveyard. That seems too rough for me. So a couple discard spells, one of mostly Goldfish, Penguin waddles in. And we open up on a pretty awkward hand here. No double red for Snoop. No double red for Chieftain. We are on the draw, but Tower doesn't tap for black by itself. So our Duress is also somewhat uncastable. I think his hand is definitely... Oh, hi, John.
And his name is John.
So I think there are matchups where you could keep a hand like this, but mostly going to be a pure race in a matchup like this. We got to just get things going and do something. Now, mulligan to 5. The 6 was untenable. Tough choice here. I think keeping a land over Prospector is somewhat reasonable, but given that we're on the draw, this hand's pretty all in. We have the ability to cast Warchief on turn 2. They have a Baffling End, it all goes away. But when you mulligan a 5 and you're on the draw in a bad matchup, sometimes you gotta just keep it and you gotta just go for it. So I decided to keep the 2 lands, the Warchief and the Prospector, and of course the Muxus. If this hand draws a land or 2, we can definitely pop off, hopefully. Turn on Prospector, no play from them is good. Then they have a Spirit Dancer, which is not ideal. So we don't draw land. So now we have a tough choice. We could cast Warchief here, but if they have a Baffling End or anything, we just lose it. So, but I decided our hand is so bad we need to go for it, because now if we draw land, we can play a Krenko, which is great. If we don't draw a land, we can still play a Warchief and set up for a fast Muxus or Krenko. So they have a pretty good opening here. They have the Vigilance, draw card, attacker, making a 6/8, which is pretty good. We don't draw the land, which sucks. I think I make a mistake here. So the options are to play Warchief or to play Prospector. By playing Warchief, we guarantee Krenko next turn. The problem is, if they fire off a few more auras and we have to block, we got to block with a Warchief, not a Prospector. So go for the riskier play to try and guarantee Krenko next turn. At the moment, they have no evasion. They do have that aura that gives flying, but we can't really play around that, But if we, that's their only evasive aura. So they fire off an Insight. So now they're attacking for 9, right? And they're also going to draw 2 cards off the Obsession and the Insight. They haven't made a land drop yet, so we don't know if they have a land or not. They didn't make one last turn either. So I want to keep them off lands, because if it constrains their mana, we can try and get around their Aether Gust and slow them down. I decided to block. Might have been better to play the Prospector block, but we draw the land. So now we're kind of on here. On mulligan to 5, playing for $2,000. Krenko comes down, makes 2 tokens, can't attack. But now we're in a spot where if he can't evade us, we might win, but they have the Arcane Flight. And one more aura does it, and we're dead. So if they didn't have Arcane Flight here, we might have been able to steal this game, even though they already gained a lot of life. But unfortunately, they have the Arcane Flight. Mulligan to 5 doesn't work out. Going to game 3, playing for $2,000. And now on the play, the Gempalms come back in, and the Agonizing Remorses go out. Because now I'm on the play, I can go turn 2 Instigator. They go turn 2 Core Spirit Dancer. I untap, and I can Gempalm and kill it. So between Prospector and my 2 drops, being able to Gempalm down a Spirit Dancer on turn 2 is much more likely. Therefore, the discard spell comes out, the Gempalm comes back in. Playing for $2,000, the Arena Open, Game 3. Against a hard matchup here in Azorius Auras. Our opener's pretty good here, honestly. I mean, we got Prospector, we got Snoop. They can't really kill Snoop, and Snoop's very good at kind of finding us the right things to do. So, fire out of the Prospector, no 1 drop from them. Get him for 1. Here comes Conspicuous Snoop. Top card is a land. So, not ideal. Not ideal. And then Hushbringer comes down. Hushbringer's a card that turns off most of our deck. And they play the Hushbringer. We got to play the Instigator here. We find the Gempalm on top, so we're ready to kill it. We need them to not make the Hushbringer have more than 4 toughness next turn. That's what we need. We can win this game. Hands all lands, but if this Gempalm can take it down, they have an All the Glitters and a Sentinel's Eyes, unfortunately, for exactly 5 toughness. Top card's a land, all lands in hand, and now we are in huge trouble because if they get to make this Hushbringer larger than 5 toughness, we just can't win, basically. Hushbringer turns off the enters the battlefield ability of Muxus, which is obviously our best card. Also turns off, Instigator and Matron, which makes it hard to win, aside from being a 4/5 Vigilance lifelink flyer. So they have a Baneslayer Angel. It's also a Meddling Mage for our entire deck. And unfortunately, from this point, there really isn't much we can do. We fire in an attack. Fortunately, they know we have Gempalm, so they're smart and don't block, because if they block, we'll be able to kill the Hushbringer. And at this point, our options are pretty limited. Cycling Gempalm, we'll just draw the mountain. We don't really need that. It's not like we can cycle Gempalm into a Gempalm. If we didn't know our top card here, we might have just cycled the Gempalm to try and get lucky and spike the other Gempalm, because that might have been our best chance to win, but we know it's a mountain. So now they're all that glitters, and it looks like we're going to be playing another match here for $2,000 because this one ain't it. As you can see, pretty tough matchup. Cards like Hushbringer also difficult. We just can't kill a large creature, so we can play a Chieftain, but we ain't beating this 11-12 Baneslayer, Angel, Meddling Mage, crazy person. So taking our first loss. So we are now 6-1. And again, we still have 1 match for $2,000. This is it. The final match. One match, historic, best of 3, Arena Open, Day 2, looking for $2,000. Let's take a look and see if I can do it or not. These Arena Opens are pretty fun, I'm not going to lie. Playing for thousands of dollars from your home is pretty cool. And if the worst case scenario is if you do bad, you're just sitting at home. It's not like you flew 7 hours for a tournament and did bad. So eating some bagel bites, getting ready. $2,000 match. Again, let me know if you enjoy this kind of content on YouTube or on Twitch. And let's do this. On the draw, lose a die roll. It's fine. It's fine. Not ideal, but fine. Whereas best of 3, not as bad. Open up on a pretty good hand here. Again, Snoop is good at finding spells. Couple Instigators. We got a Muxus. We're a little light on mana, but we are on the draw. You know, and our deck is 25 lands, a bunch of mana sources. So, pretty easy keep here. Opponent plays a mountain and says go. So we draw a tap land, we play it, which is fine. Mountain, Thermo Alchemist. So we got a burn deck here. Happy to fire off Snoop because A, I want to be able to try and find stuff up top, and B, any burn spell they play on Snoop is not on me, and we're trying to buy time for Muxus anyway. So all right, so they stomp my Snoop. Which honestly isn't that bad. It wastes their entire turn. We get to play a Warchief. They kind of have to kill the Warchief now, too. Feels like similar to Legacy Goblins, where you kind of like play things they have to bolt, and every bolt that goes towards your creatures is not towards us. But the Alchemist is obviously doing some damage. They bolt the Warchief, which is fine. Skewer the critics, some damage, but stuck on 2 lands, which is very good for us. Now we draw a Gempalm. Can't quite kill Alchemist yet, so we're going to play Snoop. Top card's Wily Goblin. Perfect. Perfect. That lines us up perfectly for the Muxus with the land on top as well. So no matter what, we're playing Mux next turn, which is great. So take a big ol' bite, take a sit back, double Alchemist, no land drop, which is great for us. Top card's Krenko, not worth it for casting, but worth it for Muxusing. I make a mistake here. I don't Snoop the Krenko. This is my first time playing with Krenko, actually, in this deck. I hadn't played it prior, and found the list. I believe Carolyn Kavanaugh, Mighty Lake Meanie, was playing this list. Took the list and changed it a little bit, but had not played with Krenko. Didn't notice it. High pressure scenario. Just didn't see it. You know. Also, I was very excited to cast Muxus too, but that's part of what I was saying in the early onset, where people don't realize these sorts of high pressure matches. They watch them from their homes, armchair quarterback style, with, well, what an idiot, doesn't know how his deck works. But the reality is that you're playing for thousands of dollars. I'm playing on stream for 800 people or whatever. Whether you're playing a feature match at a Pro Tour or a Star City, and it's tough. You know, there's a lot of pressure and things like that. You kind of tunnel vision and you miss them. So it's also somewhat non-familiarity too. So still get the Mux, still get to play Krenko. We're at 11 life. Would be a lot better off if we had made the tokens, because the fear here is they can just kill us. Obviously, they go bolt, and kill us. But they play a Lavamancer. They're at 17 life. We have no Haste Lord, which is kind of a problem because we don't have a way to give our stuff haste. So they have at least like 2 turns here. They can make some blocks, block the Mux, and Krenko's Goblins won't be able to attack next turn, which isn't ideal. So, however, top card Mux going for it again. So we sack the Mux for red here, I believe. Probably Krenko first. No, we're not going to Krenko first. All right. Probably should have Krenko'd first, because I believe I hit a Krenko off this Mux. Even though I only have 1 Krenko left in my deck. But, so we hit another Krenko, which is obviously like, you know, hey, could have been worse, right? Make a million tokens, have a Chieftain, attack for lethal. We actually have another Mux on top of our deck, as well as a Krenko in our hand. So this is it. This is basically just it. So make a million things. They kill our Chieftain. We sack it for red. Still have a Warchief, so we have a haste anyway. And we killed him. Spoiler alert. Up a game, playing for $2,000. This is our final match of the Arena Open. We're 6-1 at this point. And doing some math. I can just cast the other Muxus too. I can play everything here. It's just like a, you know, when you're, another thing where you're in a spot like this, playing for thousands of dollars, you don't want to screw up. So you always double check everything. People watch the Pro Tour finals. They watch Seth Manfield, like, you know, count his things like 7 times when he has an obvious lethal. You got to understand, folks. The biggest fear of any competitive Magic player is to throw away a huge match for thousands of dollars on camera. Because think about how awful that would be. So you take the time, take a second, count it up, figure it out. Up a game, doesn't feel like a great matchup. Kind of similar to how Burn's not a great matchup in Legacy. If our Mux doesn't kill them, they get to untap and cast more burn spells and kill us. They're kind of like a weird combo deck. Our sideboard isn't great against them. Don't really have too much. Obviously, no life gain, no sling gang commander. I decided to bring in 2 Duresses. because Duress is a way to kind of interact with them. You can clear the way for a Warchief or something like that and buy a little bit of time. Just cheap. It's a spell we can cast. Ruinblaster's not going to work because they have all basics. So just wait for this. Yeah. So after this, I'm going to do another video or stream where I add another me and I review myself reviewing this match. We can kind of really see if see how it all works out. And then that'll be 1.5 speed. So the gym from this gym over here will be at 2 point whatever speed, and it'll keep speeding up incrementally. That's a great idea. We should do that. Definitely a good idea. So tank for a bit. Think about it. Dresses are in. That's it. I cut a Krenko and some Warchiefs, I think. I actually probably should go back. Can I go back? Because I can't. Whatever. Open up on a hand. Kind of sketch. Opponent mulligans. We have Instigator, Goblin, Double Mux, and Duress. We only have 2 lands. We are on the draw. Again, we want to try and cast Mux as soon as possible because we have to kill them. We do have a Goblin. We do have an Instigator. Duress isn't bad. And tank for a while on this one. It's tough because the second Mux also feels like a mulligan too. We don't really need a second Mux, but we decided to keep it. Is that correct? I'm not sure in retrospect, honestly. Goblin into Duress ain't bad, but the second Mux is like basically a mulligan by itself. I wouldn't have been upset to throw this hand back, honestly, especially with them mulliganing too. If we brick on land for a few turns, a hand like this can get pretty ugly. We draw a Chieftain, not a land. They have the Alchemist again. Alchemist is very good there. We draw a land. All right, cool, but it's no black lands. We play Wily Goblin here. We have the option of duressing them or not duressing them. I decided to duress. We already have a Chieftain. See, Frenzy, Skewer, Pillar, Bone Crusher, no lands. So pretty bad hand from our opponent. They have 2 burn spells. They're far from casting a Frenzy. Bone Crusher is fine, but it's definitely kind of a slower hand. And they untap, they ping us, they light up a stage, and draw 2 lands. Absolutely sick. You can see my dissatisfaction there. Couldn't have been more perfect. A 1 card, 2 lands. Now they're online for Frenzy. All our spells are online. And now we're regretting our Duress because we're short on lands. We missed the land drop again. Only have 3 lands. Have a Gempalm, but can't kill the Alchemist yet. Have a Chieftain, can't cast it into a burn spell. And now I can start casting burn spells. They decide to kill my Goblin over going upstairs, which I think is a good choice because it saves their Alchemist from the Gempalm. And now they have a tough choice of playing Frenzy or unloading their hand. They could play Pillar of Flame and then play Bone Crusher Giant. They think about it for a bit, but really, really tough because obviously if they don't spike, they had to draw 2 lands at once, which they did off light up a stage, which makes things super, super awkward for us. Again, our Duress, I think our Duress was 100% correct. We couldn't know they were going to draw 2 lands immediately. And we're still kind of okay, but the problem now is we're seeing our hand kind of pan out poorly, where we only have 3 lands. We're a ways away from casting Muxus. We need to draw a Prospector or a lot of lands in a row. So they play Frenzy, but they can't do anything yet. A little bit of a reprieve. We draw a land, which is good. And now we can fire off the Chieftain. We can't really Gempalm. There's no point in doing that. I go for the attack here. I'm hoping they'll block so I can Gempalm down the Alchemist. We also are interested in Gempalming because it just draws a card. And our goal is to keep making land drops. So this looks a little weird, right? I attack for 2, then post-combat Chieftain. But in my mind, it was more important to kill Thermal Alchemist than it was to get a few points of extra damage in off of our Goblin Chieftain. Our goal is to survive to cast Muxus, not like attack and deal damage. I took the risk. It didn't pay off. They didn't bite. Which is a good play on their part, realistically. But draw, we don't draw a land. So now we're in a really tough spot. We have 4 lands in play. We could play Chieftain. That doesn't help us, though. Chieftain on this board doesn't really do anything. Pumping our creatures doesn't really matter. Our goal is to cast Muxus as soon as possible. So we kind of just have to cycle Gempalm here, even though it does nothing. We just have to make a land drop. Hopefully we can make a land drop this turn, and then we can draw a land next turn and play Muxus and go for it. So we fire off a Gempalm. It doesn't do anything. Deal the damage. We draw a Wily Goblin. So close to a land in that it's treasure token. Say go. We're at 14. They play a Lobomancer, play an Alchemist. And this is obviously with Frenzy in play. Every turn that goes by is absolutely devastating. So they draw a burn spell off the top. They ping us for 1. Strike. Could I attack first and hope they block? Well, now they have Bone Crusher to block too. So, like, I don't think that's... I don't know. Also, we attack and we can't block the Bone Crusher. So we draw. Not a land. Not a land. We play with Chieftain now, and now we're kind of just stuck because we're just sitting here. Every turn that goes by is devastating for us. They have Alchemist, they have Lobmancer, they have Frenzy. And now we're at a point where we're at 6. We're probably just dead. Even if we get to Mux, we probably can't kill them in one shot once we hit like the perfects, and we're dead. So looking back, I kind of wish I mulliganed that hand, honestly. The second Mux, not enough mana. I think I should have mulliganed that hand in retrospect. But I don't know. It's close. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in chat. Should I have kept that hand? Or should I have mulliganed that hand? It's pretty close. It's tough though. It's tough, you know. And there's a major tension of like, again, sort of playing in a high pressure situation. Do you want to mulligan to 5? You know, what if I mulligan? It's all lands. You know, so go to game 3. Now we're on the play, which is a lot better. If we can just cast Mux on turn 4, we'll probably win the game. Not much changes to sideboarding here. I actually bring a land back in because I want to make sure we can make our land drops. And they're very good at killing our mana creatures. So Death Dweller, I don't think is worth it. I think we'd rather just try and be fast. So obviously we get a mulligan there. Mulligan into a decent hand. Dragonskull Tower. We should have the Krenko here. We're not really going to hard cast Krenko out of his hand. Play Summit. We have Wily Goblin, Chainwhirler, and Muxus. So we're a lot of the way there. Obviously, Wily Goblin and Muxus is great. We draw Snoop. Now, playing Wily Goblin gives us a treasure. We kind of want to cast this Chainwhirler to kill the Lobmancer, but the problem is, if we do that, we lose our treasure. Because we don't have a third red right now. So, kind of awkward. They play an Alchemist. We draw Prospector. So, really, really awkward spot. Because we really want to save our mana for Mux. As we saw last game, we just got to cast the Mux. And then we play Snoop. It might die to a Lobmancer. We play Prospector, and they have a Chainwhirler. We get blown out. It's a really tough spot here. Really tough spot. So play Snoop. Top card's an Instigator. I'm not going to cast it from top, burning the treasure because again we want to keep that treasure for Mux. But again we know we're not drawing a land next turn, which is tough. So they start up the Alchemist train here, and they give a light up stage. They hit Skewer and another Alchemist. Play land. Fire up the Alchemist. And they decide to Skewer my Snoop, which honestly isn't that bad for us. You know, Snoop's fine, but not super necessary. Lobmancer, I believe, is online now. So we draw the Instigator. So now we're in the same spot as last turn, where we can play Chainwhirler off the treasure, but now we're down. We're down even more mana for casting Mux. It would possibly allow our Prospector to get going, but I'm still a little scared of Chainwhirler. Again, big match here. This is the final game for $2,000 in the Arena Open. Super high pressure scenario. We want to get some goblins in play because we can possibly Mux. I decided to Instigator and play Prospector. Keeps enough goblins in play where our tower's live. So we should draw basically any land. Tower's 2 mana, 3 lands to be mana, and then treasure. So we're looking to draw any land here to cast Mux next turn. And we have so many goblins in play, they can't kill them all to turn off our tower. They have a Chainwhirler, we're screwed. But I think if they had Chainwhirler, they would have cast it on the previous turn. Maybe not. I don't know. Could I have cast Mux on this turn? No. How would I have cast Mux on this turn? I'll be sad if I screwed up. Like, real sad. So if I play... The thing is, the Prospector is mana neutral. So Prospector doesn't do anything. Yeah, we're one short here. Prospector's mana neutral. Yeah, we're short every single way. The thing is, if you sack the Wily Goblin, you can't double sack to the Phyrexian Tower. That's the issue. So Prospector on Wily doesn't even do anything. So Tower sacks Wily Goblin, that's 2 mana. Tap Mountain, tap Dragonskull is 4 mana, and then Treasure's 5. So we're short every which way, basically. They lob Mancer down the Prospector, which is fine. Again, this is not going to our face, at least. And we still have enough Goblins in play where they can't kill all of them. So we got to draw land here for $2,000. Better to not play Prospector. Better interact and cast Muxus the following turn. That's not a bad idea. That's definitely a reasonable thing. We just hold it and wait. We can sack all our stuff. Would they have killed one of my Goblins with Lobmancer? Maybe. So they play 2 more Alchemists, which is terrible. And we draw Krenko, also terrible. We can't draw a land. And now we're in big trouble. If we had held the Prospector, yeah, we could have cast Muxus this turn. You're right. You're definitely right. Might have been better. Might have been better. So if we had hold the Prospector, we could play Prospector this turn. Sack for red, double black. Yep. So maybe we should hold the Prospector, honestly. Problem being, of course, we have to kill them. And Lobmancer can chump block the Mux. The big thing is when you have a big Mux turn, typically you have a lot of attackers and one big attacker. As long as they can block the big attacker, they can often survive the one shot. With Lobmancer blocking, we probably still would have died because, spoiler alert, they kill us next turn. Triple Alchemist with 3 spells in hand is an obscene amount of damage, as you're about to find out. So they fire off the Alchemists. They bolt us. Every spell is plus 3 damage. So Wizard's Lightning deals 6. Skewer the Critics deals 6. And thus ends the run for $2,000. Even if we drew a land, or if we had played properly with the Prospector, the Mux probably wouldn't have killed them, and we probably would have lost anyway, unfortunately. So tough matchup, big sad. But what can I say? We went 6-2. We won $1,000. Can't complain too much. I also won the Gen Con Championship too yesterday in Standard. I double queued. So pretty good day overall. And yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this. Typically, this is my first time trying to do something like this because usually when I play my tournament matches, I don't talk when I'm playing on stream. I just kind of focus on what I'm doing. So this is kind of a fun way to go back and look at it. I can also look at it objectively because when you're playing, you miss stuff. It's tough. The Gen Con tournament was only 44 players, but you had to qualify for it. So you had to qualify for it, and then all the players were qualified. Damn. Show me the money. So that was that. So yeah, pretty sweet. So let me know what you thought of this content. Going over my matches like this from tournaments. A little more serious than my usual waka waka stuff on stream.
Waka waka.
But yeah, awesome. So you two folks, let me know what you think in the comments. And stream folks, let's keep going for Monday, all right? Love y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.